There is a type of creature in this world, discovered by a few, but never confirmed to exist. We call these beings unidentified mysterious animals, or UMA for short. Hello everyone, welcome to the World in 10 Minutes series. Across the world's myths and legends, gigantic beasts are never in short supply. These creatures symbolize the power of the underworld and reflect humanity's awe toward the unknown. In the heart of South Africa's Northern Cape province, among the ancient rocks of the Orange River, there is also a legend of such a terrifying creature, the Grootslang, a mythical serpent of South African folklore. The name Grootslang literally means big snake in Afrikaans. As the name suggests, it is often described as a massive snake-like creature, measuring between 12 to 15 meters long or even larger. It is said to live in the deserts of northwestern Northern Cape, in a cave called the Wonder Hole or the Bottomless Pit. Legend has it this cave is a mine full of treasures, overflowing with diamonds that wash into the sea. The name elephant snake, Shang Shur, has two explanations. One, the creature is so big it can swallow an elephant whole, a real monster. The other, it has the head of an elephant and the body of a snake. This image, a giant elephant-headed serpent, is the most popular one today. According to the myth, in the beginning of creation, the gods accidentally made this strange being, but it was too powerful, cunning, and dangerous. Realizing their mistake, the gods tried to split it into two separate animals, elephants and snakes. But one Grootslang escaped their power and hid deep within the Wonder Hole, surviving to become legend. As early as the 1st century BC, Greek historian Diodorus mentioned a similar creature. During the reign of Ptolemy II in the 3rd century BC, he loved hunting elephants and rewarded those who killed strong animals. Some hunters decided to go after the largest snakes. They found one resting in a waterhole, about 30 cubits long, roughly 15.7 meters. Whenever an animal came to drink, the snake would strike, crush, and devour it. They tried to catch it with ropes, but were horrified by its appearance. The sound of it moving through the bushes struck terror into their hearts. Bait didn't work. It only made the snake angrier. It turned and attacked, swallowed one man, crushed and ate another. The rest fled in fear, but for the king's reward, they returned. Using nets and tight spaces, they finally captured the snake and brought it to Ptolemy II. He tamed it with hunger and put it on display for all to see. Ethiopians describe snakes so huge they could swallow bulls whole, even attack elephants. They would coil around the elephant's legs to stop it from moving, then climb up and strike at the eyes, blinding and overpowering it before devouring it. In 1838, Scottish explorer Sir James Edward Alexander wrote about inland African art and legends. Near the Orange River, he found traces of a huge snake, tracks in the sand about a foot wide. Locals said the snake, when coiled, was as wide as a wagon wheel. When this snake appears near the mouth of the Orange River, it is said to signal the coming of a season full of rain. This belief is similar to the concept of the rain snake found in other mythologies we've mentioned before. George William Stowe, a famous 19th century British geologist, spent a great deal of time studying South African rock art and local cultures. In his final book, The Native Races of South Africa, published posthumously in 1905, he recorded the following. The Bushmen of East Africa spoke of ancient times when the land was full of animals, many of which are now extinct. Among them were giant beasts, larger than elephants or hippos, including enormous snakes. These creatures, they said, no longer exist in this degenerate age, and few people have even heard of them. Their guide pointed to cave paintings in the Rockwood Gorge along the Orange River, depicting a large black reptile. The paintings describe the creature as a massive beast, incredibly strong, capable of attacking and crushing a full-grown buffalo. It was over 20 feet long, possibly even close to 30. In another cave, Blauwbasfontein, there is a mural of a huge serpent named Kubine, similar in size to the Grootslang. concubine was said to live in the water, sometimes hiding in reed beds along the shore, possibly the same horned snake we mentioned in the Dingonic segment earlier. In 1920, another British geologist, Frederick Cornell, wrote in his memoir The Glamour of Prospecting about an incident during a copper mining expedition. After a long, tiring day, his team camped near a water source with good cover. Their Hottentot guide, Isaac, urged them to move elsewhere. He warned that a large rock in the middle of the nearby river was believed to be the nest of the Grootslang. This area, he said, was dangerous for both people and animals. Cornell noted that several respected Hottentots and white settlers claimed to have seen the great snake or its tracks, which were reportedly 1.5 feet wide. It would attack livestock near the riverbanks. Locals were terrified of it and had a special name for the beast, Keeman. Later in the book, a guide named Lockless shared stories of another terrifying creature, a man-eating serpent with a goat's head. Everyone in Richardsfeld believed in it. They said it could unleash a blast of air that knocked people down from several meters away. But this creature was considered different from the river-dwelling Keeman. Cornell's book gained attention from South African adventurer Hans Sauer, who in his 1937 book, Out of Africa, wrote about seeing the Grootslang as a child. He recalled swimming with friends in the Orange River near North Aliwal when he was about 10. Suddenly, they saw a huge snake swimming upstream, its neck rising above the water. It appeared in the middle of the river. The children couldn't tell if it had limbs and didn't know how it was moving. They rushed out, got dressed, and ran home to tell the adults. Sauer's father and their neighbor grabbed rifles and gave chase. They saw the snake swimming in the distance, but before they could catch up, it vanished into the rocky terrain. In 1945, South African journalist Lawrence Green wrote in The Land of the Afternoon that the Wonder Hole, or bottomless cave, was said to be rich in diamonds, but required a Hottentot guide to reach. Most locals refused to go, believing it was the lair of the Grootslang, a giant serpent living in the Orange River. Its eye sockets were said to hold giant diamonds, and anyone who saw it would fall under an evil spell. According to legend, the cave connects to the sea 40 miles away. If you stand at its mouth, you can hear a deep roaring, like waves crashing on rocks. A friend of Green's once tried exploring the cave, bringing a winch and ropes. He entered only a short way before turning back, describing total darkness, intense heat, and the smell of sulfur. He said he had glimpsed a deep, bottomless tunnel. White witnesses claimed the serpent was 40 feet long, with crawl marks 3 feet wide along the riverbanks. By 1948, in Green's next book, To the River's End, he once again referenced the Grootslang. He wrote, "Along the Orange River, wherever you go, you'll hear tales of the great serpent. I've gathered much reliable testimony that convinces me it's more than just legend." Green cited the first Cape Town archivist, Reverend Leibrant, who grew up near the river. Locals believed anyone who saw the snake would be affected by its mysterious powers. Those who showed respect and awe were said to receive good luck. Those who didn't might fall ill or even die. The Grootslang could read minds and lure people into the water. Its breath alone could knock people down from yards away. Once, someone showed Leibrant a reed bed where the creature had supposedly rested. A huge area was flattened, but Leibrant thought it might have been caused by an elephant. A trader named Keneal claimed that in 1899, while working in the Uppington area, he saw the creature. His boat, full of goats, was about 10 yards from the riverbank when a giant tongue rose from the water. He described 2 massive eyes, 7 to 8 inches wide. The exposed part of the creature was 8 to 10 feet long, only about a quarter of its full length. It vanished quickly and did not approach the boat. That was the last time Keneal ever saw it. The boatmen and the local people screamed in terror. Perhaps the most compelling and credible description of the Grootslang comes from Frederick Cornell, the British scholar we mentioned earlier. In 1910, Cornell and 2 companions were camping about 20 miles downstream from Agrabys Falls, at a time when the Orange River was in full flood. One day, an American traveling with them, a man named Carmichael, went for a swim in a calm section of the river. Suddenly, he rushed back to camp in panic, screaming. He claimed that a massive wave had surged up beside him, and out of the water burst a giant snake, its mouth wide open. It rose an estimated 12 feet above the surface, and its body was as thick as a barrel. In front of Carmichael's eyes, the beast lunged at a calf grazing near the water, grabbed it, and dragged it underwater. Cornell later confirmed the calf had indeed vanished. A local Hottentot man who was with them said he had seen the snake multiple times before, even fired shots at it, but the creature appeared immune to bullets. Another witness, Hayes, a prospector, told journalist Lawrence Green that he saw the same giant snake in 1929 at the confluence of the Kuanap and Orange Rivers, just east of the Sendlingsdrift ferry. He estimated the distance at around 300 yards, yet his local guides, all Hottentots, fled in terror and refused to go near. A former police officer who had worked near the mouth of the Orange River also told Green of a similar encounter, though it came second or third hand, and so Green left it out of his records. In 1969, American writer John Manship White published The Land God Made in Anger, recording that the Bushmen described the Grootslang as a gigantic serpent whose body was wrapped in gold and precious stones. Although it was said to be older than the world itself, the Grootslang would forever guard its treasure. In 1978, cryptozoologist Bernard Heuvelmans published The Last Dragons of Africa, which listed multiple sightings of giant serpent-like creatures along the Orange River. One of the most astonishing cases he mentioned took place in eastern South Africa, near the Val Dam. In 1960, the Reineke family, husband, wife, and daughter, claimed they saw two swimming creatures in the reservoir near Orangeville on the dam's southern bank. Reineke first noticed a huge, strange object moving beneath the water. He quickly called for his wife and children. Then another similar creature suddenly darted across the water at an incredible speed. They estimated the creatures to be about 200 feet long, that's over 60 meters, with a width of only 1.2 meters, long and narrow like aquatic dragons. The two monsters appeared to be playing or interacting before diving into the depths and disappearing. By 1963, there were multiple reports of giant snake sightings near the dam. A local police officer, Rocha, claimed he had seen the creature on 3 separate occasions. Some residents even said they tried to shoot it, but never hit their target. Unfortunately, due to lack of documentation, more detailed descriptions of these events remain unavailable for now.
When it comes to sightings of the Grootslang, they are not as clear or consistent as reports of other UMAs. Yes, many people claim to have seen giant snakes along the Orange River, but very few of them actually refer to the creature as Grootslang. Today, the most common theory in cryptozoological circles suggests that the Grootslang may actually be a case of misidentification, a blend of known snake species, visual distortions, and a fair bit of exaggeration passed on through generations. And the most likely suspect? The African rock python, particularly the Central African rock python. As the largest known snake species in Africa, this predator sits near the top of the food chain. It can prey on everything from fish and large rodents to livestock, monkeys, even young crocodiles and the offspring of big cats. Apart from humans, it has no natural predators. Most adult Central African rock pythons range between 3 to 4 meters, but older individuals have been recorded up to 4.8 meters. In Claude Martin's rainforests of Côte d'Ivoire, there's mention of a python nearly 10 meters long found in Bingerville. British explorer Mary Kingsley once reported a python over 12 meters in length. Though unverified, these sizes do align with many Grootslang sightings. Given the lush ecology of the Orange River Basin, it's not impossible that larger, older individuals may still exist, perhaps feeding the legend. But here's the question: what about the elephant-like features? So far, I've found no credible eyewitness report describing a snake with elephant traits. Every documented sighting involves just a snake. So where did the image of an elephant-headed serpent come from? According to my research, this version of the myth didn't appear before the 21st century. The most widely cited explanation comes from American author Carol Rose in her 2001 book, Giants, Monsters, and Dragons. She described the Grootzlong as a giant creature from West African folklore, with a body like a snake and the size of an elephant, living in caves and swamps along the South African coast, similar to other African legends like the Mokalembembe or Irizima. However, upon checking all the references cited in her book, I found no original sources that described the elephant-headed snake. The closest match comes from Joyce Hargreaves' illustrated book of mythical creatures, which mentions Capricorn as a hybrid with features from multiple animals, including snakes and elephants. And in Richard Barber's 1971 Dictionary of Fabulous Beasts, Grootzlong is listed under the same entry as Mokalembembe. So, what do I think? I believe the elephant-headed snake is a modern myth, born from creative reinterpretations over time. Let's face it, a giant snake is scary, but a giant snake with an elephant's head? That's unforgettable. As this version spread into cartoons, games, and pop culture, it solidified in people's imaginations. And like many legends, small changes in wording and detail turned into big changes in belief. That's how the image of the Grootzlong evolved, from a large snake to a full-blown mythical beast. Of course, all of this remains just my personal speculation. Perhaps the Grootzlong was never meant to be real. Perhaps it was a collective vision, a way for people in earlier times to explain what they didn't understand. And in Africa, a continent rich in ancient stories, giant snakes are woven into culture and belief. Just like the Inkanyamba beneath Howick Falls, these terrifying creatures straddle the line between legend and nightmare. They are both mysteries to solve and myths that shape the soul of a people. So, in the end, we leave the Grootzlong in the hands of time and science. Maybe one day we'll uncover the truth. But until then, the unknown will always be greater than the known. And that is the magic of Yuma. Thanks for watching. See you in the next mystery.